I'm pretty sure everyone who's coming here is already pretty familiar with the operas, but just in case, this video contains spoilers for all 3 operas of the main New Albion trilogy. If you would like to experience them by yourself first, then go give them a listen and then come back. Some years ago, the Kiki atheist, now Quinn Buckland, made a video about this particular lyrics in the New Albion trilogy.
And on the day we come, it's over.
Ever since I saw that video, I've felt like his analysis could be extended beyond what he did. He was working only with the lyrics, but this theme that he's talking about is not only lyrics, it is also music. So I wanted to make a video in order to complement his analysis by taking into account the musical perspective behind it. So, on his video, Quinn states that the line is 1. Always used by a person of authority or particular power, 2. Denotes strong conviction in a certain idea, and 3. Is a herald of tragedy. Going just by lyrics, there's really not much that we can add to this discussion, but that's where the music part comes in. In music, there are 2 concepts that are of huge importance for storytelling: themes and leitmotifs. Sideways has a great video explaining these concepts, which I'll link. Don't worry, they are pretty accessible even for people with little to no knowledge of music theory. In the most basic sense, they are pieces of music that represent something within a narrative. This is important because it means that music can represent something within a narrative by itself without needing lyrics to be sang with it for the music to have any meaning. So, back to our topic. We know that the lyrics in question are mostly used with the same melody, so in order to have a better grasp of its meaning, we can start looking for it in other moments in which the melody is used without the lyrics. We know that the line itself is used 4 times throughout the operas. However, the melody is not established using that lyrical line. The first time we hear this melody is not when Soldier 7285 is executing people in Priscilla and Jasper play cards, but actually one sung before during New Albion 4. Listen to how Soldier 7285 pledges allegiance to the government.
And on this day of my enlistment, I shed my skin of will and innocence.
This is the same melody which he uses in the next song while carrying out the infamous purges and establishing the line, "On the day we come, it's over."
And on the day we come, it's over. And you will have your fate laid out and spun its execution.
This reaffirms Quinn's second point about the line, that it has strong determination associated with it. It is first established as the theme for the soldier's oath, so it obviously carries a strong sense of duty with it. However, this also breaks the first point. The theme is not established to be used by someone who is an authority, but rather to be used by someone who is under the authority's control, or at least influence. The third point about this being a herald of tragedy becomes somewhat shaky, as the tragedy of the purges is already happening, but it can be argued that this is also the beginning of the ultimate tragedy of the first opera, Priscilla's death, so we can say it still stands, for now at least. The main aspect of this theme revealed by this little change in perspective is that it isn't just lyrics, it is indeed a musical theme heavily associated with the government. At first I thought it was Soldier 7285's theme, but considering that the oath he took is probably the same for all soldiers, and that he doesn't use it in I Will Bring You Down, which is his solo song, we can say that this theme represents allegiance to the government, not a specific character, which is confirmed in the next opera. In Radio Hour, this theme takes a whole new level of importance, being used 3 separate times and referenced, though only through the lyrics, by John in the finale. We are first reminded of this theme by an unnamed policeman.
And on the day we come, it's over. Please all keep calm while we perform our vows.
This might seem like a bit of a waste, but it's actually a great addition to the opera. Paul Shapiro has said that he wants people to be able to enjoy each album as a self-contained story, And to start referencing previous themes, expecting the audience to know what they mean is just not going to help with that. So we are reintroduced to this theme by a policeman to remind us that it represents the people who owe allegiance to the government. From there, Shapiro had a theme he could use whenever he wanted to relate someone to the government without needing the listener to be familiar with the previous opera. This is what makes the moment in which Thomas reveals his true colors so effective.
And on the day we come, it's over. I can help you if you just stay calm. There's bigger things here than you realize. I'm sorry, but this must be done.
We just heard the police use this theme, so when Thomas sings it as well, we immediately know he is also on the government side, even before he explicitly says so. Now, I said the theme was used 3 times in this opera, without counting John's reference to it. So which one is the third, and why didn't Quinn point it out in his video? The answer to that question is that Quinn was dealing exclusively with words, while the third use is purely musical. Listen to what happens after Constance finally gives the MCG to the voodoo punks in the substation.
With this I wash my hands, I lost my life and all I had, and all I want to do is go to bed.
Past the world, past the night, past the stars where seabirds fly.
The brass section is blasting out the government's theme in a dark and menacing tone. Why is that? We have so far seen this music theme used by 2 people, both policemen, both agents of the government, just like John. The music is telling us that John has entered the room even before we hear him sing. But this sounds incredibly different from the way this scene was presented in the first act.
John orders the men to hold their positions in the hall, and he blows down the door. Inside are only 3 non-combatant hostiles, 2 men and 1 woman. The woman screams, and so he aims at her first. There is a long pause as their eyes lock and hold. Finally, John lowers his gun and sings.
Past the world, past the night, past the stars where seabirds fly.
Why wouldn't the government theme be also playing in this part? Well, in this scene, we are in John's perspective. He is a super soldier who has a modified body that makes him almost unstoppable. However, he is also depressed, and he doesn't really feel any conviction in his ways. He isn't really loyal to the government, he only does their bidding because it's his job, and he doesn't feel like there is any other alternative. It's possible that Shapiro only omitted the theme so that the reveal that Constance was John's daughter was just a little bit less expected, but it works perfectly with the idea that the government's theme carries conviction with it, at least from the listener's perspective. So, at the end of Act 2, when we are taking Constance's point of view, she is caught staring at an iron golem who is a government soldier and is about to kill her. So it makes sense then that we get the same theme that has been used to identify people who are related to the government. To her, John is just another pawn who mindlessly follows what the higher-ups say. And well, she is kind of right, but we know John doesn't really want to do what he does, and once he sings the lullaby, this becomes quite evident. This use of the theme takes us back to point number 3 of Quinn's video, which I said was a bit shaky. In this instance, the theme actually plays before the best thing that could happen to both characters involved takes place: the reunion of a father and a daughter. And while John does die in the end of Act 3, it is not presented as a tragedy, but as an act of heroism and a happy ending for John, as he has finally atoned for his sins. The final time the theme appears in the New Albion trilogy, when Connor shuts down the Voodoo Punk's machines in Arc 1, is the least interesting use of the theme, since all it really does is remind us that Connor managed to shut down the Voodoo Punks thanks to his connections within the government. But the government feels so absent from this opera that it all comes off like a soft nod to a beloved theme from previous works, rather than something that really adds any depth or interest to the story. Like, say, in Radio Hour, where the government was so present that it was arguably the most important theme in the entire opera. In the end, what I wanted to get to is that this particular theme, while absolutely carrying some of the qualities that Quinn mentioned in his video, is mainly a theme for the government, a way to establish that there is some sort of involvement from them, or that some character is related to them at some point in the story. And I also wanted to help people find more interesting connections in works like this by listening not just to the lyrics, but also to the music. It is an opera after all, so the music is half the story. And a lot of the time, we can learn a lot from our characters and the story just by the music, without needing any character to explain it to us. Anyways, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. Right, I forgot when I was recording the video. Thanks a lot to Pixelwave for letting me use her art. She was the only artist that actually answered me when I was asking out for people to let me use their art for this video. And thanks a lot. She's a really cool person. Her art is amazing. Go check out her stuff. Also, shout out to Quinn Buckland. I'm not sure if he still has his New Albion explained videos up, but those were really cool when they first came out. They're pretty old right now, but go check out his channel. The guy actually talked a lot about New Albion previously. And yeah, if you like this, I will probably make a few more videos like this. I do want to make more analysis of New Albion as a general set of works, but I also want to do a little bit of other stuff. Yeah, anyways, that will come later. Anyways, if you like this, leave a like, subscribe, whatever. It doesn't cost you anything, doesn't give me any money, it's just for fun. Anyways, thank you all. Bye bye.